Hi, I'm Melinda Van Fleet, and welcome to the Confident Conversations podcast. I'm an author, speaker, and success coach who helps women believe in themselves, build confidence, and take action. This podcast shares authentic and transparent, thought-provoking stories, tips, and tools from my experiences, as well as incredible guests, so you can continue to build your confidence and live your best life. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's get started on this confidence journey. Real quick before we begin, I am super excited about the release of my first book, Confidence Mastery for Couples, a roadmap to a more intimate relationship, and the book releases March 9th. Stay tuned for more about it and other confidence-related books that I will be releasing every 3 months, and there will always be a link in my show notes. Now on to the podcast. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me. I am so excited about the new title for this podcast, Confident Conversations. And I thought I'd just jump on. This is a midweek release just to announce it in case someone's like, what? What's going on? Where's Crush It in Sales? I don't know if people really know or understand the history of how Crush It in Sales became Crush It in Sales, because I have 2 podcasts, and I would think most people know that. And there's just a lot of thought process and reasoning behind that, because most people don't have 2 podcasts. Like, some people can't even handle one, to be really honest. You'll see that some people start a podcast and then, 6 episodes later they stop because, they're not into it. They're not feeling it, too much on their plate. There's a million reasons, not disciplined. And I have loved podcasting since I first found out about it. And I have shared that story before, that I was reading Gary Vaynerchuk's book and was like, who's JLD? And then I started researching. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's this whole world of podcasting. And then I told my husband, Ryan, who is Good Karma Sport Fishing, about podcasting. And I was like, you should do a podcast. You should do a podcast. And he kind of looked at me like I was half batty. And he's like, what am I going to do? Here's someone who hates public speaking with a passion. And it's amazing how far he's come in regard to talking more with his clients. And that's just kind of a one-on-one thing, right? Let alone talking now to thousands a day. And so it's been kind of funny. But when I got him up and running, then I was like, I definitely want to do a podcast too. So my first podcast is Good Karma Success Coach. And I started that in April of 2019 when I launched my coaching and speaking business. And at the same time that I launched that podcast, I also was in a very high ticket speaking course that was training speakers to sell their programs business to business. So really going after corporate business with not only speaking events, but how to, hold seminars and classes. And so I felt that Good Karma Success Coach, as that was finding its way, was not a fit for business to business, because the Good Karma Success Coach podcast tends to be more spiritual, and I have more guests on there that are spiritual. Not all the time, but more often than not. So I was like, well, I can't be networking and sharing that podcast on LinkedIn where all the business people are, because I don't know if you ever heard the statistics before, but supposedly, from what I've heard, 57% of the population is not spiritual, only 43%. And there are theories around that, which I'm probably going to chat about on the Good Karma Success Coach. But basically, if someone's not spiritual, number one, that's totally cool. I whatever your jam is or not, that's fantastic. That's what makes the world go round. And that's how I roll. And then if they're not, you're more than likely not going to convince them to be, for example. My dad, whenever I say something that is a little more spiritual, he kind of rolls his eyes. He's like, well, you have your belief system. So, he's never going to be, meditating or having any crystals, which is kind of funny to think about. So anyhow, out of all of that, Crush It in Sales was born. And I felt really strongly that I could speak on the intersection of sales, leadership, and development because I was a small business owner with Good Karma Sport Fishing. I had been in leadership roles, managing huge teams in my corporate days, Victoria's Secret, Target, Shop NBC, and personal development's everywhere, right? We're all on a personal development journey. And I had also built my sales business here in Florida from scratch. The lines that I'd picked up were is all pioneering. And even the rep group I was with, their business was like shit. I remember looking at the account list and was like, okay, these people never even paid their bills. Like they're not even real customers. So my sales acumen was also something I felt I could really help others with via the podcast and sharing. So that is how that got birthed. It was really just my love of podcasting and knowing what I could contribute to the world and help others with, and kind of melding that all together in relation to the fact that I was in this high ticket speaking course. And I just kind of needed another anchor of content. And I just thought podcasting was the way to go at that time. So it's been an interesting journey because as I was in that journey and doing that, I also knew I was moving away from being a sales rep. In my heart, in my soul, just all different sorts of things just kept happening. And then we have COVID, which really crushed Florida, South Florida especially, because the resort business and COVID happened right when our busiest time of the year is. And, unfortunately, businesses don't understand that. They don't understand South Florida. They don't understand snowbirds and tourism and how the money is during high season versus off season. So anyhow, it was kind of a challenge. But I always knew in my heart that I would be moving away from that title and overall theme of that podcast. But the thing is, I didn't really know what I wanted it to become. I didn't really have a clear picture. So I kept going. I kept doing the thing. I kept doing the work. I kept putting it out there every week. I kept networking with great guests that I thought could really contribute value to the audience and would be a great networking connection for me. And I kept going. I didn't stop. And that's what most people do. They just stop. They throw up their hands in the air, and they just stop. And I kept going. And I'm so glad I kept going. And I'm so grateful for everyone in my audience that has stuck with me. I get amazing feedback. I love to hear it. I love the guests that I bring on. I have even more guests planned in the future with this new niche of confident conversations. I feel like I can open the door a little bit wider, which is just really exciting to me, because another reason why I do this podcast, besides sharing value to the audience, obviously, building an audience, but also it's just a way for me to be generous to other entrepreneurs, coaches, small business owners, anyone that has like a message or a story to share that can really help other people. And I think in the podcasting world, that's something that's not really discussed, is the opportunity that a podcaster has to help another person, a single person, a person that is a fellow speaker or coach or business owner, entrepreneur. And that to me just really lights me up. So it lights me up when I can have a guest on and then I can help promote them. And, sometimes they don't do a good job of promoting the podcast back, which I think is kind of amazing, because here you have a piece of content to help promote your business. Like, freaking share it, right? But most don't. So I've had to energetically learn to move past that and then really appreciate and continue collaborating with the people that do. But, because I'm like grateful for every piece of content. I am grateful for every article that gets published that I wrote, whether it's on someone else's platform or my own blog. I'm grateful to be on other people's podcasts, and I'm happy to promote them and promote that podcast because it's content and you're sharing everyone's work, and everyone can always be learning something new. So anyhow, in the fall, when I came up with my book series, which is on confidence, and every 3 months there will be a different book in relation to confidence, but it'll be a different theme, a different niche. And some people might think I'm freaking batshit crazy, and I kind of am. And I'm okay with that because honestly, some of these other people out there where they just talk about the same damn thing over and over, they really bore me. And after 6 months, I move on from them. So I want to keep it going. I want to always be learning. I always want to be sharing something new. So my first book is about couples and how you can master your relationship as a couple. And I'm just super excited. It was fun to write. It's loaded with stories about myself because you know what? You have to work on yourself first. And then there's also a lot of stories about Ryan and I. So then hopefully that's relatable for you if you are a couple, and you can relate it to your business, you can relate it to your life. I mean, there's lots of stuff in there. And my stories don't drag on because I don't tend to be super long-winded, even though this podcast might end up being kind of long. But they're shorter stories where hopefully you get the gist, you get the lesson, and you relate to something, you have a little aha moment, and you can apply it to your life. So I'm just super excited about that. I have other topics planned. The next one that will be released over the summer is spiritual. I haven't completely come up with the title yet, but the second one is spiritual. And after that, it'll be some other ones that are not spiritual. So again, every 3 months. So wish me luck. I have a lot to do, but it's all in my brain. So now I just need to be putting it on paper and get going. So I'm just really excited that it was time. It was just time energetically. And I talk about energy a lot on this podcast. It was time energetically to flip the switch to confident conversations. And again, I am so happy you're on this journey. I would love to hear from you. Please feel free to follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram. It's Melinda_Van Fleet. A rating and review on Apple would be so appreciative, as well as a share. Please share this podcast with someone that you know can benefit from it. Because if we can all help someone else out there, imagine what this world would be like, right? I have the chills just thinking about it. And my private coaching is open. Yay! Because my first book is written. So that is open, and you can contact me through my website, goodkarmasuccesscoach.com, and all things are on that website. So I keep my SEO very busy. So until Wednesday, I hope you liked this little update. And again, thanks for listening, and I look forward to bringing you more scoop on confidence. Have a great weekend. Bye.